Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon. Hey guys, it's Vanity Ezel back in another Thera video. So if you guys enjoyed, don't like, comment, subscribe, and start, shall we? Today we are going over the trial deck 01 Crimson Blaze Hiro Kamado for the Thera products. So basically this is just an unboxing video minus the unboxing because one, my printer doesn't work, so I can't print out the cards, and two, I couldn't even find a way to print out the box. So despite the fact we have designs for them, we cannot print them out. But that's fine because I have such a thing as Google Slides, which I do to use anyways for my deck profiles, so might as well use it here. Basically the overview is just going to be me explaining the song, aka deck, how it works, and it's just main focus. So to start off with Crimson Blaze, we must first look at our ace creature of the song, which is Crimson Dragon Revan. He is a dragon creature, the theme for pretty much every card in this song. Every creature except for one, if I remember correctly, is a dragon. It's a level 3, which means if you summon it, it's the only card you're summoning that turn unless you have ways to special summon. Its nation is Arizon, as evidenced by probably the title of the video or what I said earlier. It has a, trying to remember what it's called, gift marker on it right here. I don't know why every time I see this I want to say rune. It has a gift marker right here, which means when it attacks it can do gift checks, and onto its ability. So first up we have its flavor text, which is accept the power and fly with the dragon. So I did not make these cards in terms of abilities. I didn't make the flavor text though, which is what I feel proud of. Anyways, he's a level 3 with 200 power, my bad, and he does 1 damage on attack, as most creatures do. In fact, we don't get cards that can do damage and more than 1 damage in attack until season 2, so yeah, keep down the download. Anyways, his ability is pay 2 and discard 1 from your hand, and you choose a creature from your hand, and this creature gains power equal to the chosen creature's power until end of turn. So basically, to decipher that for you is, if you pay your 2, which is the equivalent to Counterblast for this game, is what would be Vanguard's game, you do your pay 2, you discard anything you want, you reveal a creature from your hand, and then this creature gains that creature's power. So for example, say you had another copy of Crimson Dragon Revan in your hand. When you use that ability, outside of the other card used for discarding, he'll gain a total of 200 power, making him have 400 power. It is not once per turn. That means you can use it as much times as you want to. You can stack his power to unlimited extents. I know when I was writing the Thera anime for this, at some point I had him hit, like Hiro Kamado, I had him hit a total of 1,000 power, which was really fun for me because I got to go full tryhard with that move. And in the trial deck you can still very much do that. It's just harder to do it compared to obviously when you have booster sets, which obviously the characters had at that point. So the main theme of this deck is actually shown in this one card, where it's focused on gaining a lot of power and pushing past any defense. If you want a song that can easily, like, aggressively push the opponent, not in a multi-attacking way, but like literally the definition of a one-man army, this is the one for you basically. But that's all it really does. It's kind of like a one-trick pony in that regard. So if you if you do not want the song that has a bunch of power base stacking, don't bother picking this up. But I think it's really good because it's very simplistic and it's really easy to use. So that's Revan, and obviously we have to have a bunch of other cards to support him. So first up we have Crimson Draco Kid. So for a lot of these cards, a lot of them share the Crimson name. Not too many of them, but a lot of them do. So Crimson Draco Kid is a level 1 with 100 power, which is the normal power for most level 1s. 1 damage as well, and he's from Arizona as well, and he has the shield icon, meaning that he can be used as a guardian. So his flavor text being stay out of my forest. Did not make that one, but who cares? Anyways, pay 1, destroy this creature, and you choose a creature with Crimson in its card name on your field, and it can deal 2 damage instead of 1 during this turn. So here's the benefits to this. That basically means any creature that has Crimson in its card name, or the one you picked for its skill, can do 2 damage at once. aka you can pick Revan with it, so when Revan destroys something, and the chances of your opponent being able to stop Revan on its own when you start using its ability to power stack up to somewhere in the thousands, yeah, that's going to be really hard to block. So basically that's a free 2 damage. Now the downsides to this, or at least from what I've realized from the downsides of this, is it's not a really fun skill to use. It's a pay 1, so that's fine. The pay 1's the fine part. The downside is you're destroying a creature just to get the damage you would have gotten anyways, so while it kind of makes it easier for you to get that second damage, because maybe they might block the second creature since Crimson Draco Kid is not the strongest card in the world, it is more risky because if now they only have to block 1 attack, and if they manage to block the 1 attack, well, you kind of just wasted a creature for no reason. So I don't really like using Crimson Draco Kid that much, but it's in the trial deck because it genuinely is good. It can help push really early, especially if you know your opponent doesn't have a way to block it, or you have Revan on your board. Just give its ability to Revan, and now Revan can just easily wipe out the opponent because it can just do 2 damage at once. So all around, Crimson Draco Kid's a good card. I'm gonna try to remember all these copies. Actually, wait, I don't have to remember all these copies. All of them are at 4 of in the trial deck. So yeah, 4 of Crimson Draco Kid. He's a nice card. He is very simplistic. He adds to the power. Then we have my boy Young Guard Draco Kid. So, you won't get past my shield, he says, as he is a safeguard. So, for those of you who play Vanguard, that is basically a PG or a perfect guard, meaning that all you have to do is use it and it nullifies the attack completely. In its skill being, discard this card from your hand, stop one attack from an opposing creature. So when your opponent attacks, let's say for example, they're using a Revan of their own, it's somewhere in the thousands, they swing to your face directly, you just be like, you know what, man, I don't want to let you hit, but I can't guard this because I cannot get anywhere near 1,000 on its own. Discards Young Guard Draco Kid, boom, it's a PG, the attack is nullified, it can't be hit anymore, so Revan's attack just fails. And that's really good, for especially against decks such as Revan. Every deck has this, and every deck should have this. I don't know why I'm referring to it as a deck, I think it's just because now I'm confused about my own thing, trying to keep up with you guys. So yeah, all around safeguards are really nice. They're always like this, all of them have the same skills, all of them have the same stats, with them being shield, so if you want to use them as 50 shield, you can. There's no minus to using them as a shield, but I'm not going to tell you why there's no minus to using them to actually guard over just using them as a flat PG. And as for their stats, they're the same as a normal level 1, so stat of 1 crit and then 50 power. So if they do manage to, if for some reason you called it to your board and dealt damage to your opponent, they would still only do 1 damage if they let that hit, because it's the easiest thing to block. But whatever, there's a chance for everything, so that's our safeguard. Next up we have is Shield Guard Dragon. So it's one of the cards I like to refer to as a special card. So this creature is a level 3 with 300 power and 1 damage. So already we've encountered someone who is stronger than Revan in the Revan's own trial deck. Except the issue with this is, if you see, he doesn't have a gift marker, instead he has a shield marker. And the reason why this is, this creature can only be used as a guardian, which means you cannot call it to your field. But you know what? There's a benefit to this, because the main combo of the song that you want to be able to pull off is you have Revan on your board, and then you use Revan's skill to pay to discard anything, and then you reveal the Shield Guard Dragon, and then once you reveal the Shield Guard Dragon, you get 300 power, meaning Revan is sitting at 500, and you can keep doing it as long as you have hand cards. That's the easiest way to hit 1,000 in this song. Just pay a total of 6, drop 3, reveal this 3 times, and then Revan's already hit, quick math, 1,100, I believe. So all around, Shield Guard Dragon's a really nice card. It's really good for defensive, because that's basically anything that isn't Revan isn't going through, and it's just gets a lot of numbers for Revan. So all around, Shield Guard Dragon's a really nice card, whether it's for defensive or for the secret offensive purpose it pulls, and that's why it's at 4 in the song. It's definitely a really good combo card, and I suggest running it outside of the trial deck if you get the trial deck and we release boosters. So that's my suggestion. Then we have another level 1 in Draco Kid of the Flaming Fist. He's also a dragon. Like I said, I think every one of these cards is a dragon except for one of them. So level 1, one shield, the shield icon as well, does 1 damage. I don't know why I'm bothered saying that when all of them have that. And then 100 power as standard of a level 1 outside of safeguards. So for Draco Kid of the Flaming Fist, his ability reads, when this creature attacks, it gets plus 50 power until the end of the turn. So that's really good. That means basically when he attacks, he's just a 150 flat, but not only that, he gets to keep it for the turn. So if you manage to get him to attack again, he's just going to keep stacking that 50 power. And while that is not a trait of Arizon, it's definitely good that it's just a free 50. You don't have to pay 1 for it. You don't have to discard 1 for it. You don't have to pay any cost for it. It is just a 150 swing into anything you want it to be, and that's really good. It is definitely one of my favorite level 1s. Definitely not because when we were playing the Thera match between me and Shoji, and I was the one playing Arizon. Definitely not because I top decked into this is the reason why I like this card. Well, what are you talking about? Not at all. Either way, Flaming Fist is a really nice great level 1. He definitely helps with power, and he is just a good card. So all around, I think he's a 4 of, and he's just a good card to have in the trial deck. I clicked the wrong button. Then we have Hammer Dragon. Okay, so there have been many of us that have tested this game to make sure that it's good. We all agree on one thing with Arizon. Hammer Dragon's the MVP. I think all of us that have remotely touched Arizon agree with it. I agree with it. The guy who had at some point 20 hand cards definitely agrees with it. The creator of the game agrees with it. We all agree that Hammer Dragon's the best card in this song, if only compared to by Revan. So Hammer Dragon is a level 2 with 150 power, and it has the gift icon, because all level 2s have a gift icon, mostly all level 2s. His ability reads, pay 1, this creature gets plus 50 power until the end of turn, so now once per turn, so if you want to pay multiples of 1, he'll just get plus 50 each time you pay 1. So that's good. He just can keep on stacking power, meaning he can possibly be as big as Revan, because one instance of pay 1 is equal to Revan's base power, but then that's only Revan's base power, so take that as you will. And then his other ability, the reason why we all agree that he's really good, is when this creature destroys an opponent's creature or deals damage to the opponent, draw a card. So, if this creature attacks and you're into a creature or your opponent directly, and they don't guard, and either the creature's destroyed or they take a damage from it, you get to draw a card. And that's really good because 1 is on to once per turn, so if you found a way to multi-attack with this thing, good for you. That means you're just going to keep drawing. And 2, if you have a lot of them on the board and they keep attacking and your opponent keeps not guarding, you can keep filling up your hand with a lot of cards, and not only have a lot of cards to guard with, but a lot of cards to attack with, and a lot of cards to discard for the ability of Revan. All-around Hammer Dragon is by far probably one of the best level 2s out there in this game, and I greatly question why we had this in a trial deck, but whatever, it's an amazing card. It's genuinely really good, and it's a 4 of in this trial deck for a reason. I mean, not that everything is in a 4 of in this trial deck, but this one is the one that deserves to be a 4 of in this trial deck because of all the drawing it can get you. 4 of, net 2 advantage. Then we have Dragon Knight. Sorry, not Dragon Knight, Dragon Rider. He is a Dragon Knight though. So, level 2, 100 power, so less power than Hammer Dragon, weirdly enough. Has the gift icon as well. And pay 2, when his attack is guarded, return this creature to your hand, and one of your creatures gets plus 100 power for the turn. Okay, so paying 2 is an interesting cost, to say the least, because, well, no, why am I saying it should cost at least? I don't know why I don't like paying 2 so much. But anyways, paying 2, kind of easy to pay, because all you have to do is swing with this. It has low power, so the chance of your opponent being able to guard it is genuinely really good, because that means they can guard it with very little. Most level 1s can block this. The draw triggers can block this. 2 damage triggers block it. But because it has lower power, that means yes, its attack will go through less often. That's the best part, because that means you can give someone else 100 power and then stack more power onto one singular card, making it harder to block. That's what I like about Dragon Rider so much. While him himself is easy to defend against, he makes something else a lot harder to defend against, because guaranteed whatever you give the 100 power to has now at least turned into a 150, meaning they have to drop at least a heal trigger to block it. So all around Dragon Rider is really good. He adds for brilliant combos. He does really well in his job, and once your opponent gets pushed to 9 damage and they're 1 damage away from losing, this is probably their main threat, because Revan, okay, well, Revan is a threat too, but Hammer Dragon is no longer a threat. This is the most threatening, because it will just go back to hand and start getting power. So all around Dragon Rider is an amazing card, and I like it a lot. Definitely adds for combos. If only he showed up for me when I actually need him and not when I can't use him. So that's my thing with him, but whatever. Then we have Crimson Strength. Okay, this used to be one of my least favorite cards, but then when that game occurred where I fought as Hiro and then I proceeded to top deck a creature that I needed to win, and this was the reason I won, yeah, you begin to remember, whew, definitely needed this. So, Crimson Strength, you use it by discarding 1 card from your hand, and you choose a creature from your hand, target a creature on your side of the field, and it gets half the power of the card in your hand that you chose until the end of turn. So basically, here's what you do. You can take anything, but obviously you're going to take the Shield Guard Dragon over here, and if you do what I did, you take the Draco Kid of the Flaming Fist, you drop a hand card, you target the creature on your board, use the Shield Guard Dragon, cut its power in half, so 150 goes to 100, that's 250. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, you just get half the power, and that's really good. Increases your numbers, makes it easier for you to defeat your opponent. All around, it's a good card. It doesn't cost pay. Granted, it does cost a discard, so to use it, you have to have 3 hand cards itself, the card to discard, and then the card to reveal. But all around, it's still pretty good. I like the numbers. It can definitely help you hit. And I have a little more bias towards this card now that it's saved me from losing on several occasions. Or one occasion, but an important occasion to me. So yeah, Crimson Strike, good card. I definitely do think it's a 4 of, and it deserves to be a 4 of in this trial deck. Then we have Dragon Wings. I used to love this card, and now I don't, because there's something that I made that was better than this card, and then I use it a lot more. So Dragon Wings is a spell where you discard a card from your hand and draw 2. So basically Graceful Charity, except -1 card from both the draws and the discards. All around, it's like a good card, because it's just a replacement of your hand. Granted, you technically discard 2 cards because you have your Dragon Wings and you have the card you actually discard for it, and then you're just replacing them with the top 2. But the top 2 can still be really good, because basically get rid of the 2 most useless cards in your hand, and you get to do this for free. You don't have to take any pay for it. You don't have to blow something up on your board for it. So all around, Dragon Wings can be really good. It can either help you top deck into something you really need to, or it will screw you over, because maybe you might just draw 2 triggers that you don't need. Or maybe you just might draw more Dragon Wings, because why not? You just draw more Dragon Wings. All around, it's that card. It's either the card that can like win you the game in situations or lose you the game in situations. Or at least that's been my experience with it. I've heard from others' experience it's not that bad, but my experience, it has definitely been it's either the winning game factor or the losing game factor. Either way, it's a decent card to 4 of. Then we move on to our trap and Fireblast. So you pay 2 to use it. Traps basically can be played during any time during your opponent's turn or during your turn if they meet the cost. I forgot to mention that with spells. Spells can only be played during your turn unless specified they activate during an opponent's action. So for the trap here in Fireblast, you pay 2 to use it. When your opponent plays a spell or trap, deal them a damage. So this is really good against a lot of certain songs. I'm just going to throw one out there under the bus. Black Magic. The deck that spans spells. So it's really good. If their deck that abuses spell use a lot, you can definitely save the pay 2 up, deal them a damage, because that can definitely help you win in the end if they're like kind of being really defensive and they're not taking too much damage, but if you can catch them while they're going on the offense and quickly burn them a damage, that's really good because that might set you up for victory later. Or if you've already pushed them to 9 damage, you basically won the game the second they try to counter you with like a trap or a spell. So all around, Fireblast is really helpful. The pay 2 is what makes me not like it, but it's still a really good card. It's balanced, it's strong, and when used in the right situations, and all around I think it's cool. So yeah, good trap. Then we have our rune in Strength of Arizona. So this is arguably one of the best runes ever made, and that's coming from the guy who has made literally almost every card. I have made over 400 cards for this game alone, so I know what I'm talking about when I say this is one of the better cards in the game. I mean, probably not one of the, definitely not one of the best, but one of the better runes at least, because because one of the runes, most things runes have is they have a maintenance cost, which basically means when they're placed, they have an on-place cost, and then at the start of the turn, your turn, if you have to pay a maintenance cost, such as like pay 1 or discard 1, and if you don't do it, the rune's destroyed. This is one of the runes that doesn't have that. There are very few runes that do that. I'm gonna say there's at least 20 probably runes that, no, at most 20 of runes that have that. I know it's not 20, but I can't think of a better number than 20 to say, so I believe that case. Anyways, Strength of Arizona is one of those runes that doesn't have a maintenance cost, which means it's probably one of the best ones because it also doesn't have an on-place cost. So you can place it on the field for free, and by paying 1, you can do it multiple times a turn. All your creatures get plus 50 power until the end of your turn. So, basically, if you pay 3, all of your creatures will get plus 50 for 150 for the turn, not 50, plus 150 for the turn. That's really good. It helps increase your power to astronomical extents. This is honestly one of the more dangerous cards because this can slowly stack up power a lot quicker than other cards can, and basically it's just like Hammer Dragon, but for the entirety of your board. Now imagine if you had 3 Hammer Dragons on the board when you did this. All your Hammer Dragons are jumping up to 300 and all of them are on a hit draw card. So all around, Strength of Arizona is a really good rune. I definitely do think it's probably one of the best cards that has come out of this trial deck, and I like it a lot. It's a 4 of. It's a 4 of for a reason. It's just flat good. If you see this in your hand, place it down immediately. Then we move on to our triggers. Basically, this is just to show off the arts and explain what they do. So we have our damage triggers. So damage triggers, this will always be the case for every trigger. Damage triggers have 50 shield and can block. And they can't be called because that's what all triggers are in this game. Draw triggers have 100 shield and can block, and then heal triggers have 150 shield and can block, and same with the damage trigger, they can't be called. So, the damage trigger, basically when you see a damage trigger during your damage check or a gift check, you deal 1 damage to the opponent. It's just that simple. It's really good. There are occasions where you will enter what I call the damage trigger loop, where because of how damage triggers work, when you check them, if you are at 9 damage and you see a damage trigger, you deal your opponent a damage before you take your damage. And let's say your opponent's at 9 damage and they damage check, I don't know, a Fireblast. They automatically lose because you didn't take your damage yet because the damage trigger activates before it hits the damage zone. So that's the case. Now, if your opponent pulls a damage trigger, then they deal you damage, and then if you don't see a damage trigger, then you just lose there. But if both of you keep pulling damage triggers, you just keep going until one of you stops seeing a damage trigger. That's why I call it the damage trigger loop, because there will eventually be the occasion where someone just starts looping damage triggers left and right. So the damage triggers, I don't remember the amount of damage triggers that are in the song. I want to say it's either 2 or 3, but let's just say for now it's 2 for the benefit of argument. Then we have our draw trigger. They are exactly what they sound like. You gift check or damage check them. You get a draw. They have 100 shield. They're the most balanced in terms of shield value. Then we have heal triggers. they are exactly what they sound like as well. So basically, when you gift check or damage check them, you heal regardless of what damage you and your opponent are at. So unlike other games where sometimes you have to be at more damage or equal to damage, I'm referring to Vanguard by the way, that your opponent has to be free to be able to heal. Now it's just, for this game, you can heal at any damage. So say, for example, you're at 1 damage and your opponent's at 8. First off, your opponent, I feel bad for them because they're losing greatly, and they're about to get worse because you're about to be 0 to 8, but you can still heal. So as a benefit to heal triggers, it allows you to heal. I believe draw triggers are at 3 copies. Heal triggers are 5. You can have 5 heals at a time in a song. Damage and draw triggers are free reign at any amount you want. You can also choose not to run heal triggers. The guy I was talking about that got 20 hand cards, he doesn't run heals at all. He just runs 10 draws. Trust me, it sounds crazy, but it works, and I've been on the receiving end of it, and I didn't like it. So 5 of heals, it's just a thing. Then we have our final card. It's not really a new card we've seen. It's just Crimson Dragon Revan, the SP art of Crimson Dragon Revan. It is meant to represent something in the future. I have already spoiled enough. Granted, I only spoiled 1 or 2 things, but I have spoiled far more than enough, and I do not want to spoil anymore. If I didn't, then that was in the previous recording that I scrapped because I was smart. So without further ado, I'm going to end it here. That's pretty much our first trial deck of Thera, Crimson Flames, Hiro Kamado. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join Discord, follow Twitch, and I'll see you all next one. Don't forget to check us out.